Alrighty, hey everyone, welcome back. So we're going live a little bit early. I'm ready to go, and we have a lot to get through, so I figured might as well start early. So thank you all for coming in as always. What do we got today? Obviously, Bitcoin and miners kind of melt down a little bit from where we were just a day ago and towards the tops. I think it's part of the plan, kind of healthy as well. We need a little pullback, so I'm okay with it. We'll talk about obviously what they did. We'll take a look at where the miners are now in pre-market hours, trading as well. We'll also take a look at a bunch of stories that we have here. We got CIFR story. We got Hive, Hut 8, Mara, Bit Digital as well. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody else in there. I think that might be it for those. We'll talk about the Genius Act. Didn't go through today. Possibly might go through tomorrow. We'll talk about that. CPI data as well. I forgot about the Trump tariffs, that might have an actual impact on it. We'll talk about that a little bit. And we'll talk about also the miners as far as institutions buying into them as well. So we got some data on that. And then we'll get into Q&A. All right, so let's get into it here. As always, you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously, as always. And let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin here today. It did bounce back a little bit, which was kind of nice to see here, but overall we were down quite a bit here. So Bitcoin's down today 1.74%. It bounced back up a little bit, but from yesterday, from the top where we reached $123,231, we were down approximately 6% to the bottom here within basically 24 hours. So that's quite a sharp reversal there. And obviously we're seeing the results of that on the RSI as well. If I can get that to, let me see. That's not, why isn't that popping up in there? Let me refresh it. So we can get it to work properly with the RSI here. There we go. All right. So there's the RSI on it as well. We can see on the daily the RSI has come down quite nicely, and that's not Bitcoin, that's Hive actually. Here's Bitcoin. Come on, load. There we go. Has come down below the 70 mark, so that's looking pretty good there. As you guys know, we do have the gap here on the CME futures, which is at about 114. Could we still get down to that level here in the next couple of days? Possibly. We still could have possibly go up, right? Right now, Bitcoin is looking better on the daily. On the weekly, we probably came down a little bit. Yeah, we got to 70, came down a little bit here on it as well. 4-hour chart is loading. We're about halfway on it right now, so there's room to run there. 1-hour chart, we bottomed out here, and RSI has been going up, but price has been kind of flat more or less. So I think we might be coming down a little bit more here. We'll see on that one. The Genius Act obviously didn't get passed. We'll talk about that in a second here. I don't know if that had an impact. The CPI did obviously had an impact on it here today as well. Markets were kind of mixed today as well. Ethereum, let's see, Ethereum was, it's the 4-hour chart one. The daily chart on that one was actually nicely up today, right? That one was up approximately 4% today, so it's got to a high of 3,153. It's right now at 3,114. I believe Bit Digital's pumping in the after hours right now. I saw one of you guys comment on that. Miners, for the most part, were all down today except for CORZ. But Bitfarms was down 5.56% on the day here. We got BitTier being down 7.1%, Kang being down 2.5%, CIFR being down CIFR being down 1%, Cleanspark being down 3.25%. CORZ was up a little bit, 1.47%. That's a result of CoreWeave signing a deal, or there's something in Pennsylvania, part of the Trump announcement is going to be happening there. I don't know if they happen today or if it's happening tomorrow. But there's for them getting more megawatts potentially there. I think it's 100 megawatts to start, and then they have like 200 megawatts to go forward with that. That pumped the stock for CoreWeave, which then obviously helped CoreWeave go up today. Hive was down 6.09%. Hut 8 was down 2.53%. IREN was down 2.3%. Mara was down 2.3%. Riot was down 3.28%. And Wolf was down 4.7%. MicroStrategy was down. Galaxy was down. Coin was down. I mean, pretty much everything across the board here was down except for Metaplanet. Sorry, not Metaplanet. Nexon Co. Ltd. was actually up 1.96%. Everybody else was down. Small miners were down 14% for Annie, 5% for Argo. DigiPower was down 3%. DMG was down almost 4%. Mawson was down 10.8%. Canon was down 10.5%. I mean, it had a huge run up here yesterday for some reason, and obviously corrected here a little bit today. Bitcoin miner ETFs were down. The treasure companies here for Ethereum, BTBT was flat. BTCS was green, 17.28%. BMNR was down 2.58%. Game was down 9.04%. SBET was up nicely today, 21.31% on that one. So those guys obviously had, so at least some of them had a pretty good day in comparison to what happened with Ethereum today. And then looking at the miners here after hours right now, if we look at it, we can see BitTier's up a little bit, 1.27%. Bitfarms is up quite nicely, 5.8%. We got Cango being up also just a little bit, 0.59%. CIFR flat on the day. On the new day, we got Cleanspark being up 1.39%. CORZ is up 0.29. Hive is up almost 1%. Hut 8 is up 1% as well. IREN is down actually 0.18. Mara is up 1.28%. We got Riot being up 0.83% and TerraWolf being flat on the day. Wonder what about Bit Digital. Let's take a look at BT, because I saw you guys post on that one. BTBT. There we go. That one is up 6%. So that one's looking pretty good here in the after hours right now. We'll see how it does tomorrow morning, where obviously Ethereum goes and everything else, but that's the miners and Bitcoin in general. Looking at Bitcoin here right now for the month of July, we're still up 10.08%. Bitcoin ETF inflows here for yesterday were positive. BlackRock, IBIT bought a bunch, 394 million here. We were still positive, 287 million. We are in the negative right now. We'll see where BlackRock comes in, but I'm guessing BlackRock's going to be positive here. I'm guessing, based on just the trend that we have seen here before on that one. All right, so let's get into some of the good news stories that we have on Bitcoin here really quick. This is just in. Cantor Fitzgerald is nearing a $4 billion SPAC deal with Adam Black, I believe is his name, and Blockstream to acquire 30,000 plus Bitcoin. Bitcoin contributed to for equity up to 800 million in additional capital raised. Mirrors 3.6 billion SoftBank Tether venture as well. This is another major move in the rise of corporate Bitcoin adoption. They're going to be buying Bitcoin, obviously. They're going to be stacking it. Price of Bitcoin should be going up in the future here. Next here, Standard Chartered launches spot Bitcoin trading for institutional clients in the UK. Right, more adoption. We're seeing that as well. Love seeing that. Next here is Bitwise launches daily proof of reserve for its Bitcoin ETF. I love seeing that. Right, that they're actually showing proof that they have those reserves in Bitcoin, and you can verify them on chain probably. But I love seeing that they are providing that. And finally here, this is, I don't know if this is going to happen or not, but this is breaking news. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna confirms the imminent firing of Fed Chair Jerome Powell here. Anna Paulina confirmed, right? This is happening. Fed Chair Jerome Powell is firing is imminent, according to Congresswoman. Will that happen? We'll see. If it does happen, and Trump gets somebody that he wants in there, they're going to lower interest rates relatively quickly, I'm guessing here. Probably at the next Fed meeting or something like that, if that's the case, if that happens. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And how far do they lower the interest rates? But again, CPI data today didn't come in too good. We were up 2.7% overall on it here. So the consumer price index rose 2.7% on an annual basis in June, up from 2.4 in May, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. However, the full impact of President Donald Trump's tariffs is still to come, according to economists. Right, so they're thinking that the tariff impact is going to be a little bit more pervasive, possibly. And maybe in a couple more months, we'll get some more data, obviously, on the impact of that. I mean, I can't recall if I saw anything major going up in price. I mean, obviously, things coming in from overseas and China, things like that. Yeah, I have seen some things going up quite a bit there. But we'll have to keep an eye on it, see where it goes, right? So obviously, we don't want high inflation. And if we lower interest rates and spur the economy even more, could that raise the inflation? Possibly, right? So that's a concern there. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Next here on the Trump Genius Act here, this is Trump says key Congress members have agreed to advance Genius Act in procedural vote tomorrow. They were supposed to vote on it today, but there were some standout members of Congress, I believe, that were didn't want to vote on it or something like that. They had a discussion there with Trump. It was by 11 or 12 of them there. This is from the Truth Social site of Trump here. I am in the Oval Office with 11 to 12 congressmen and women necessary to pass the Genius Act. And after a short discussion, they have all agreed to vote tomorrow morning in favor of the rule. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, was at the meeting via telephone and looks forward to taking the vote as early as possible. I want to thank the congressmen and women for their quick and positive response. Make America great again. So this is great. So it looks like that's going to be getting passed tomorrow. I think there's 2 more bills that they're working on as well. I think they wanted to maybe merge them all together into one thing, or at least some Democrats maybe wanted that. I'm not sure. But getting this passed, obviously, is going to be good for the industry in general, having some definitions and things like that as far as crypto and everything else. So that should be good there. Next, the miners here. Let's get into those because there's quite a bit to cover as well. CIFR announces their date of second quarter 2025 business update conference call. This is going to happen on Thursday, August 7th. They will host a conference call at 8 a.m. in Eastern time at that point. and I will try to get on that, listen to it as well, see what they have to say on that one, and we'll see. So we got Hut 8 already released when they're going to be reporting. Now we got CIFR here, so these are all coming up here in the next, well, probably 3 to 4 weeks or so. So that's going to be interesting to watch those. Next here, Hive, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, right? But Hive Digital Technologies exceeds 12 exahash milestone, achieves 250 million annual run rate revenue as Paraguay expansion progresses. So they are proud to announce it has exceeded 12 exahash. So they exceeded it actually. So where are they at now? Per second of global Bitcoin mining hash rate, doubling from 6 exahash at the start of 2025, and has surpassed 250 million annualized run rate revenue, which is great to see. And this is the site there. Definitely a lot of progress happening there as they continue to build out. Love seeing that from them. Definitely love seeing the growth that they are definitely doing this year. All right, as you guys know, if you guys have been following the channel for at least a year to 2 years, I used to not be in, what would I call it? I guess I was a little dismayed by their growth. I guess is the best way to put it, right? I wanted them to grow more, but they were kind of hesitant to grow. They didn't really have the appetite for it, or at that point, at least for one reason or another. But now they are growing quite nicely here, and I love seeing that here from them. So hopefully the stock does get rewarded based on their growth here and the eventual increase in run rate and revenue and everything else as they get to 25 exahash there. So if they get to 25 exahash by the end of the year, they should be at a run rate of around like $400 to $500 million, depending where the network hash rate goes. So that's a huge increase in revenue that from one year to the other for them, as long as Bitcoin goes up in value to like 200,000 or something like that. So it actually might be more than that, because if it's 250 right now, with Bitcoin being at 100 some thousand, Bitcoin gets to 200,000, we're looking at possibly them being close to, I would say at that point, maybe like 800 million run rate, something like that. So that's huge growth. Congrats to them. Next year we got Hut 8. Hut 8 has basically rebranded themselves a little bit here. They had a new website. So today they announced a corporate rebrand that aligns the company's external positioning with its strategic focus on energy and digital infrastructure through an integrated platform model focused on disciplined capital allocation, operational rigor, and relentless performance optimization. That is a long sentence there. Nothing really else new on this. It's just a rebranding of their website here. You guys can read the rest of the stuff. They do talk about they expanded its energy infrastructure platform to 1,020 megawatts, built high velocity utility scale power origination pipeline, advanced AI data center development opportunities, right? Designed and commercialized next generation tier 1 data center form factor, restructured its Bitcoin mining business into a standalone entity, right? That's through BTC, scaled lower volatility, contracted business, and executed innovative dilutive sensitive financing. Yes, they've done that. Deepened institutional alignment. And what else? Realigned its reporting structure, which I didn't like. I had the data on it for last 3 quarters of 2024, and then Q4 they changed things on me, and all the data was basically for naught at that point, because it was just a different way of reporting it on different business segments. All right, other than that, the site looks pretty good. The only thing I'm not a big fan of here is this like wind turbine thing here, where power unlocks potential. That's kind of blocking it there. I'm not sure. Maybe it's because I have it zoomed in. Let me see if I zoom this out. If it looks okay, that looks a little better. I just have it zoomed in. So let's go to 100% like it normally would look like. That looks a little bit better. So that was just on my fault there. Site actually looks pretty good here. Nice video playing in the beginning, and then we can see all this other stuff that's happening here. All of the power. This is kind of cool actually, with the way it kind of moves around. It's kind of like a what do you call that? Not a vortex, but there's a term for it. I can't remember what it's called. And then it moves around. That's kind of cool. And as you scroll down, it progresses through, showing all of that. But man, you got to scroll quite a bit here. They should have shortened that up a little bit. Shows their 205 megawatt total capacity. This is for Vega. You get into Vega here, what that looks like. And then you got, let's see, what does it say here? Module 2, Module 1. I guess we can find some more information on it. Keep scrolling, and then it goes into this stuff. So nicely done on the website. I don't know if it conveys what they actually do here right off the bat, but it's not bad. Kind of cool. All right, so that's it for Hut 8. Let's get into Mara here. Mara has an interesting announcement as well. Mara leads a $20 million investment in 2 Prime to advance institutional Bitcoin yield strategies and expand SMA to 2,000 BTC here. So 20 million equity investment formalizes Mara's minority ownership in 2 Prime. expands Mara's BTC allocation to 2,000 BTC. Relationship strengthens amid rising corporate, institutional, and sovereign demand for Bitcoin Treasury solutions. And 2Prime, an SEC registered investment advisor and institutional lender with total assets under management of 1.75 billion. They're actually smaller than Mara's market cap. Mara's market cap is like about 6 billion. Today announced 20 million equity investment led by Mara Holdings, deepening the company's existing relationship. The investment round, which includes additional participation from Susquehanna Crypto, formalizes Mara's equity stake in 2Prime and builds on its previously announced allocation, expanding from 500 Bitcoin to 2,000 Bitcoin into 2Prime's institutional yield strategy. So they're kind of going a little bit different route than what like Cleanspark's doing with their trading desk, right? When it comes to their Bitcoin, and they're trying to get yield on it as well. They're giving it basically to a third party there, and they invest quite a bit as well. So 2Prime's yield strategies are designed specifically for institutions, emphasizing capital preservation, risk-adjusted returns, and operational transparency. Mara's investment reflects a larger shift toward actively managed digital asset portfolio under disciplined, risk-aware frameworks. 2Prime's lending arm, 2Prime Lending, was recently ranked the largest CFI lender in the United States, according to Galaxy Research, the State of Crypto Leverage Q1 2025 report. So that's actually pretty good there. So it does seem like it's a pretty reputable firm there. And we'll have to wait and see what the kind of yield they get on the Bitcoin that they are obviously putting in there, right? So they have allocated 2,000 Bitcoin to platform to help generate yield as part of a broader treasury approach. This strategy combines the potential for long-term value appreciation with disciplined efforts to earn returns while carefully managing risk. Yeah, so what is that return going to be? Is it going to be a return of 3%, 4%, 5%, 7%, right? What is that return going to be? And how are they also securing those Bitcoins, right? Because if you're going to be lending those out or something like that, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing your due diligence on your counterparty risk on that. Because if somebody goes under, what happens to the 2,000 Bitcoin? Who's on the hook for that? Is it going to be, might be Mara, might be, what is it called, 2Prime, on the hook for that. So there should be some kind of insurance or something like that, where if something does go wrong, you get it back. But that's just my take on that one. All right, so that's Mara there. And then finally, BitDigital here. They reported as well today that they announced a 67.3 million registered direct offering of its ordinary shares here. So today they announced that it has entered into a placement agency agreement with B. Riley Securities for the purchase and sale of 22 million ordinary shares at an offering price of $3.06 per share, pursuant to a registered direct offering to certain institutional investors, expected to result in gross proceeds to the company of approximately 67.3 million before deducting placement agent fees and offering expenses. So let's just say that they get 60 million out of it. Ethereum's price right now of 3,000. You're looking at about 20,000 Ethereum to add to their stack there, which they right now have like 100,600, something like that, I believe. So yeah, the company intends to use the net proceeds from the proposed offering to purchase Ethereum. So they are definitely gunning to be like one of the top holders of Ethereum, but they have a ways to go, I think, in order to do that. But there's going to be dilution with it as well. So they are definitely betting their house on Ethereum going up and doing well. They are going to be obviously staking it, so they're going to be getting yield from that as well. And we'll have to wait and see what those numbers come in at after like a full quarter of them being just a treasury company of Ethereum, which might be not until Q4. I think Q3, they're going to have some Bitcoin mining in there as well, but I mean, we'll see. It's kind of early. I mean, we're in July right now as it is, halfway through it. So, and they're doing this right now. So we'll get at least a couple months of data on it and see where they place at that point. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here. That is it. That's everything as far as what's going on with the miners and everything else. So busy news day today. All right, let's take a look at the institution side of things for the miners. Have those guys been buying in here in the last month or not? What's going on with them? So we always look at on the 1 month time frame and on the 6 months time frame. Over here, we look at the 6 month time frame, shares added. And we do see that obviously CIFR came in number one with the most shares being bought up by institutions, 146 million there in 6 months. Riot, 72.3 million, IREN, 66 million, CORZ Scientific, 56 million, Cleanspark, 54, Marathon, 44 million, Kango, 30 million. But Kango, I only have data for this previous month, so I don't know if that actually increased or not for them. BitDeer was up 8.5 million, and Hive was actually down 980,000, surprisingly enough, even though they are growing quite nicely and growing their hash rate here. So a little surprised by that in the last 6 months here. here is the price stock difference from 6 months ago, where you can see a lot of these guys are in the green here, except for BitDeer and Hive, both being down quite a bit here. From that point, this is on the 1 month change here. We can see that Kango, again, like I said, I only have 1 month of data, so prior month was 0. Now they got 30 million, so that's why you're seeing that huge increase there. But overall, we're seeing increases in pretty much all these guys here. IREN had an increase of 1.1 million shares added. CIFR 850,000, Marathon 840, along with Riot, Hive 650, Cleanspark 560,000, BitDeer 490,000, CORZ Scientific 10,000 shares looks like. But look at the price action of these guys here in the last month. Really, really nice job here, except for BitDeer. BitDeer's down actually 1.18% as it is on that one. So kind of interesting to look there. Percentage owned by institutions, 6 months here for the 6 months change. CIFR increased by 45%, IREN 28%, Kango, like I said, I don't have a whole data on them, so that one's kind of going to be off. Cleanspark 19% along with Riot, Core up 15, Marathon up 11, BitDeer 5, and Hive is actually down 6% at that point. And then when we look at the analyst high price target changes from 6 months ago and a month ago here, we can see that price targets have actually come way down for some of these guys here in the last 6 months. BitDeer being down $13 on the analyst price targets for them from where they were to where they are now. So they're down 13, Marathon's down $12, Cleanspark's down 5, CORZ down 3, Riot is down 3 as well, IREN and CIFR are down 2, and Hive is actually flat from 6 months ago. And then from last month, data, nothing's changed here. Everybody's pretty much where they were last month as well. And then here you can see how many institutions are in each of these guys here as well. All right, which I think that's kind of off there because that looks kind of low. What is that data coming from? Hold on. Let me see here. Where am I pulling that data from? I'm pulling it from in here. Number of institutions, difference from 6 months ago. Okay, so that's 6 months. I should probably write that in there. That's actually 6 months. From 6 months ago, the number of institutions that have increased in these guys. On that one, all right, analyst high price target difference from current stock value. So if we take their analyst high price target for them and where the stock is currently today, we can see how far away they are from it still right now. And why is my thing off here? Did some updates to it, and why am I off? Let me see. Bear with me, please. I do apologize for that. Hopefully this fixes it. And yeah, that fixed it. Okay. All right. So Kango, I don't have any data on them as far as analysts are concerned right now. There are no analysts actually for them, so it's 0 for them. They're at $5.50. That's why you got a negative there. CIFR is $3.03 away from the high price targets from the analyst. IREN is $7 away. Hive $8 away. CORZ Scientific $9, and then you got Riot $9.90 away from the high analyst price targets. Cleanspark $12.81, BitDeer $13.45, and Marathon $14.24 on that as it is. And as far as percentage gains, as far as how high they could possibly go from where they are right now, that would be an increase for Hive. It would be a 49% increase from the stock price where it's at right now. Cleanspark would be 105%, BitDeer 107%, Riot 81%, Marathon 75%, Core would be 67%, CIFR 50%, and IREN would be 42%. And Kango, like I said, I don't have data going back to last month here. And then obviously current stock prices here. Again, what is up with my data here? It seems like the spreadsheet is acting weird today. Let's do that. All right, there we go. So that works much better. So yeah, institutions are still buying in, less so than we're seeing here, at least over the last month or so. We have seen bigger gains over the last 6 months, probably prior to this month or prior to June. We saw a lot more buying there, so they were buying, but they're still buying in, right? Still quite a few shares being bought up. So that's still good. That means they still have some conviction in these guys here going forward that they will do much better. And hopefully that's going to be the case for us in the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, whatever that's going to be. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see where things go later on this week. We'll see if the Genius Act gets passed. We'll see if Fed Powell gets fired or not. And do we get interest rate cuts at that point relatively quickly? How much of interest rate cuts do we get? Because if we do get it, I think that would be really good, not only for the housing, but man, I don't want houses to go up too much. I'd love to buy some land and actually build on it or something like that. But right now, with the interest rates the way that they are, at 6-7%, just I don't have any appetite for that at these rates. So we shall see. All right. As always, spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. Link for that is down in the description. A couple bucks a month. You guys help support what I do. Greatly appreciate you there. Plus, you get access to our private Discord server as well. You can reach me on that pretty much anytime. I either have it on my phone or I have it on my computer. I usually see it relatively quickly when something gets popped up or I get mentioned in there. But that's it. Let's get into Q&A here. See what you guys have to say on it. Yeah, today wasn't a great day for Bitcoin or Bitcoin miners as well. But sometimes we do have those days. They do come in, and we live through them and live to fight another day. As always, question marks, preface them with a question mark, or question, sorry. Gosh, I can't speak tonight. Questions, preface those with a question mark or a Q. I'd appreciate it. And let's see what we got here. All right, I think we'll start out over here. Sadie likes reminder as always. Thank you, Sadie, so much for that. All right. Let's see. Brett, PG. Seb, are you kicking yourself for being greedy and buying poop coins over BTC? Are you talking about like the H bar that I got or the Cardano? Yeah, I probably should have went into Bitcoin at that point. But those were last cycles that I bought them. I haven't bought them this cycle at all. I'm looking to offload them as we speak. As they go up in value, get closer to where I bought them in at, I'm hoping to at least break even on them and go into Bitcoin at that point. All right. Let's see. Andre says, only miner that did at negative 30% today was Soluna. Why was that one down so much today? That's interesting. Okay, let's see. All right, Neville says, I'm telling you, Seb, Trump is fixing to firepower. He needs those rate cuts now. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we'll see if that happens, right? I mean, right now we're seeing some pretty positive, or I wouldn't say positive, but pretty firm confirmations that it might happen here. We'll see if it does, because you just never know. Somebody could be just trying to pump their bags. Brett says, you got to question, though, these fools holding Bitfarms, though. I got to admit, right, Bitfarms definitely surprised me. Maybe I was too over-optimistic on them. I saw the growth to 21 exahash. They were saying that they're going to get there by the end of the year. Well, and as things progressed and we got closer to that and things changed with them, and we started seeing that timeframes are being pushed out when it's going to happen. And then so I got out of them back in November, December. And I told you guys about that. You know, I don't like what I'm seeing here. I'm getting out. I was still in profit at that point. So I still own a little bit just to see where it goes. One of the things that's kind of interesting there, had somebody ask me, where did they ask me? I think it was on X. Somebody asked me if Bitfarms has a possibility of having Donald Trump come into their site because they have a site in Pennsylvania through that $70 billion investment they're going to be doing in Pennsylvania and Pittsburgh, I believe. I'm like, I don't know. I would think that if Bitfarms was going to have President Trump at their site, they would have plastered that all over the place on X and on their press releases and everything else, right? Because that's huge. So we'll see if they get any kind of attention from that. But it would be nice if they did. All right, Dan's got a question here. Did you have time to compare the Ethereum treasury-based companies yet? These are the plays right now. Ethereum has so much catch-up to do. Favorite out of SBET, BitDigital, BTC, or Game After Hours. Yeah, I mean, BitDigital is doing nicely here after hours. I mean, they're all treasury companies, so it's just a matter of how fast can they hold as much as possible of the Ethereum, and how. I mean, that should also be really good for Ethereum, right? If they're holding it, they're not trading it. I'll have to look some more into it. I know that those things have gone up huge. I talked about them when they, ran up quite nicely. And I mean, boy, did they run up. They ran like hard here. I mean, you can see here, let me go to the screen here really quick for you guys. But you can see, obviously, BitDigital has had a nice run from $1.88 all the way up to $4.30. Then it's come back down here. BTCS, same thing, kind of, all right, from $2 up to $6, then pulled back down halfway in. And there, it's been kind of trading in that range right now as it is. BMNR, another similar story, right? It was at $392, went up to $161 at one point. Came back down to about, well, it's definitely hanging around right now around $40 as it is. So there was a huge pump there and a dump, and we've seen that in a couple of these guys here, but can that sustain? Can they then reverse and go back up here? We saw Game, same thing. I got into Game for like a half a day. I got in the morning and I got out at the afternoon. I was up like 3-4%. on it because I got in at 209, went up to 287. I should have sold it at that point. Didn't think it was going to go up a little bit higher, and then it's coming back down. Like, and I'm seeing the other ones going down as well. I'm like, that doesn't look right to me. Let's get out of it before I lose money on it. And I did, and it fell even further there. So, are these things like a pump and dump? Maybe SBET, SharpLink, right? I think this is the one that has the most Ethereum holding right now, even more than the Ethereum Foundation, I think. That one's kind of starting to catch back up a little bit, but this thing went also wild from, what, $2.26 all the way up to $124, and then dumping again, and then dumped hard too. So was it a pump and dump for a couple of days? Possibly, but we saw the same thing happening on the other ones. Now, the big question is, can they actually start to go back up slowly as Ethereum price goes up, right? Or are they going to be just manipulated as before? At least here recently. So I need to see some continued price action where they're actually going up here. Right now we're seeing the game going down. We're seeing BMNR going down. BTCS is kind of flat, going up a little bit here. BitDigital came up here a little bit. They're buying more Ethereum as well. Right, we'll have to wait and see. BitDigital also has white fiber that they're going to be owning 80% of that when that goes into its own public IPO. So they got basically, I don't know how that's going to be reported. I guess it's going to be on their assets or other assets or something like that on their books at that point. We'll have to wait and see on that one. So I'm not convinced yet on it. As we have seen here, Ethereum has underperformed Bitcoin tremendously this cycle. So can it finally get a nice bid up here? I don't know. Time will tell, I guess, on that one. So that's kind of why I'm not chasing these things right now, at least. I did chase game for a little bit, for half a day, and then got out. But that's just me. I didn't like the setup there. All right, talked about that. All right. Let's see, Neville. Riot has been selling their stake in Bitfarms relatively quickly. They started around May 27th and have reduced their stake by almost 50% in 50 days. At this rate, they should be done by September. They should, right? That's why I said a couple weeks, couple months when they started selling. I'm like, it's going to take a while for that to happen. So, but still, nonetheless, it's going to happen eventually, I think, unless they pause for a while and then resume selling. Who knows? All right. Andres says we should stop completely talking about Ethereum treasury companies. There is no mining of Ethereum. There used to be, which was great and very profitable, but not anymore. But it's the latest hype that's going around here, right? All these guys transitioning into Ethereum treasury companies or things like that, and it could work out very well for them. But based on what I saw in the price action, right now I'm not convinced. But we'll see. Let's see, Brett says Bitfarms is a cavern of hell. I think it's restructuring. Well, it's restructuring. It's also turning itself around. It's going to take a little while. Give it some more time. I think they're on the right track here. CK, every cycle money flows from Bitcoin into Ethereum. Has that started now? That I don't know, to be honest. We can look at maybe the dominance between the two. Let me see if I can find my Bitcoin dominance chart here. Where is it at? Do I have it over here? That's no, Bitcoin halving clock. It's 2 years and 255 days until the halving event. Where's my, I thought I had it up here, maybe not. Bitcoin dominance. I think I have it down here. Let's take a look at it. Bitcoin dominance. Where do I have it? Stock to flow heat map, quarterly markets. No, that's not going to show it. I thought I had it over here, but all right, here we go. Bear with me. The screen. So Bitcoin dominance here has been coming down a little bit from 66% to 63%. Maybe we're seeing some transition from Bitcoin to Ethereum. That's why Ethereum was up today, Bitcoin was actually down. All right, I don't know. That's kind of what we're seeing here, but it has come down before and then it goes back up here, so who knows? We'll see. You could be right on that one. All right, let's see. Angie has a question here. There we go. Hi, Seb. What are the biggest operational risks for Bitcoin mining companies this cycle? The biggest operational risks for them, it's going to be weather, high electrical costs. Hopefully, those don't go too high. Trying to think of what else could be. Obviously, Bitcoin falling in price, right? Those are kind of the biggest operational risks that I can see, at least right now. I mean, then there's also issues with their sites. A transformer goes down or something like that. Those are, things that you can't really control, but those are things that might impact them. But overall, for everyone, it would be Bitcoin price going down, hash rate going up like crazy. Yeah, that's kind of what I would think. Let's see. Bitchin82 says Bitfarms may rival CORZ over the next year. Buy low to get multi-X gains, possibly. I don't know how they're going to rival CORZ. I mean, I get what you're saying there, but they don't have the megawatts there. They do have a pipeline to get to the megawatts, but it's going to take a while for them, a couple of years. Yeah, I don't see it. I think that'd be great, but I just don't see it. All right. So you guys got a question. If BTC diamonds will go down as it does every cycle, is it worth buying Ethereum treasury stocks over Bitcoin miners? I mean, that I don't know. We don't have a proven record with miners. We really don't have a proven record with the Ethereum companies either. Last cycle, we saw obviously what the miners did. This cycle, I don't think they're going to do anywhere near that, like 70% or 70x increases in value. But we might see them do pretty well still, right? 10, 15x, something like that. We already see a couple of them doing that right now as it is. The Ethereum holding companies, they're brand new, right? It will greatly depend on where Ethereum goes at this point. Okay, Alexander's got a question here. Seb, do you agree that the rate cut is the single biggest catalyst for miners to start running with leverage? Well, the rate's going down, and I'm hoping that they don't take on too much debt at that point, right? And we don't want a repeat of basically 2021 and 2022, where a lot of these guys were taking on debt through regular loans, and then they had to forfeit machines and things like that. I don't want them doing that. But yes, they could definitely, buy things at a lower price at that point, take out loans for maybe infrastructure or something like that. I'd be fine with that, but not like Bitcoin mining machines. I don't want to see that. And then also with interest rates going down, that should spike up Bitcoin price as well. So that should help out there. All right, B82 seems many in the miners are hoping for over-the-top type move like previous cycles that were more pump than true value. Given the changed cycle, will the miners settle in a value price model? Possibly, yeah. Like I said, I don't, we're not going to see the 70x gains that we saw like in Mara and 40x gains in Riot. If we see 10 to 15 to 20x from the bottom when they bottomed out in December of 2022, I think that would be great, right? Even if we get 10x or a 5x on these guys, if you're able to do that, that's still much, much better return on your investment than what you would get through like the S&P 500. So how can you still complain about that? Yeah, you didn't get the 70x, but heck, you can't buy that Lambo, but you did definitely help out your portfolio, your valuation, and things like that. So that's the way I would kind of look at it here. God's Will Odie has a question here. Bitcoin got to a low of 115,000 today. Do you still think it will go lower than that before the next leg up? We could. We have that gap on the CME futures, sorry. We could go down to that before we go back up. That's always a possibility there. All right. See, Russ D says it's Groundhog Day again. Yep. Bitcoin miners going down. Angie, which miners are the best equipped to handle any possible tariff costs? A lot of these guys already have most of their machines in place. The only ones that are still growing is going to be Cleanspark that we know of right now. Hive, obviously. Hive's in other countries, so I don't think that's going to impact them. But Cleanspark Mara is still going to be growing. Not sure if they have all the machines in place to do their growth that they want to grow to. So that might be an impact there. But also we know that Bitmain is, I don't know if they have already started, but they were talking about doing production in the United States as well on the machine. So then that would negate any tariffs at that point. So I don't think that's going to be an issue there. All right, Neville says, it will be interesting to see how the market will react to Jerome's firing. It tanked on the rumor alone. Trump will need to get the next person in ASAP. I would agree. Yeah, we might have a little bit of a pullback on the market at that point. Let's see, Neville says, once Riot is gone, and I think they'll be gone by September, Bitfarms will be free to rise freely with BTC. Hopefully we get some short squeezes as well. I could definitely see that happening as well. And yeah, they should definitely rise better at that point than being, under the foot of Riot this whole time. Is Mohammed has a question here. Have you considered developing valuation tools like your awesome miner spreadsheets for BTC treasury companies that raise capital specifically to buy BTC like MMSTR? I mean, there's already people doing it. I mean, you even have it on MicroStrategy's website as it is right now. So I don't know if there's any really need for it. And how do you value them? I mean, you can value them what they bought in at, where do they buy in at, right? Kind of what their year-to-date yield is basically. And a lot of these guys already provide that, so I don't know if there's a need for it. The astronomer travels. Do we think this is the first wave of alt season? I don't, but I could be wrong on that. Angel says they bamboozled us. Who's that? The astronomer travels. Question: do we think this is the start of? Okay, I talked about that one already. Let's see, Mr. X here. Question: if Bitcoin stays above 115,000, will the top 3 miners, Mara, Riot, Cleanspark, bring in positive earnings? For Q3, which we're in right now, well, I know Cleanspark will definitely probably bring that in. They're at 50 exahash. Mara, with their HODL, yes. Riot, same thing with their HODL, yes. And Cleanspark, without HODL or with HODL, I think they should be positive on that one. All right. What is your price target for this cycle? Mine is 1 million parity to gold. 1 million parity to gold. So what would the price be on that? Would it just be $1 million? 1 million parity to gold. I'm not sure on that one. That one's, I have to think about what you mean by that one. Sarman Gaming says Ethereum is junk. I think it actually has utility, right? It could be used for a lot more than it is right now, and I think that might actually be the thing that brings it up higher in time, as you are able to use it for, buying a house, and you have the deeds and everything else for that. That could be all on chain potentially, smart contracts and all that stuff. There's a lot of possibility there with it. They just need to put out some good stuff in there at that point. Excuse me. BTBT says, bought more Bitfarms today. Every day the price is under my average. This and Hive are best bets for multi-X. They are way undervalued from where they probably should be, but can they get the love? That's a big question there. All right. Dan, Ethereum is that hot garbage. We got to smell it when it gets back to 4,000. Okay. B-Side's got a question. Do you think we will see some kind of FOMO like we saw in earlier cycle? So far, it's really going up slowly. I don't know if we're going to see FOMO. That is a good question. I don't know if we are going to see FOMO like we have in prior cycles where we saw that huge parabolic rise in Bitcoin. We're not seeing it there right now, right? Like you said, it's an extended. We're going up, but we're going up like slowly, right? It's like a school bus instead of a Ferrari, to be honest. And in a sense, it might actually be good because that might actually lead us into a longer cycle, an extended cycle where Bitcoin just continues to go up, have some corrections of 10, 15, 20, 25, 30%, whatever it might be, but it continues to go up. We don't have those 80% corrections like we have in the past. We'll have to wait and see, right? Typically, right around this time frame, going into like September, October, November, price of Bitcoin should be pumping like crazy. And I mean, we're up 123,000, but that was still nowhere near the pump that we saw and the FOMO that we saw in 2021, 2017, and even before that as well. So, well, time will only tell on that one. It's been second services. I wish Cleanspark would pump so I could dump. I'm sure you're not the only one there. All right. Gary Powell says, question, Bitfarms is just one of the many miners to realize difficulty rises as fast as Bitcoin price, so impossible to make profit unless you have iron efficiency and energy price. Bitfarms CEO gave up on BTC. Well, he hasn't completely given up on it. I mean, they still have, 18, 19 exahash right now. So they're still, a good size of a miner as it is. They're just trying to see if they can maybe capitalize on some additional HPCI business potentially. We'll see. All right. See, besides question, I heard a theory that it was going to be flat until 1 million. Do you think it's possible it's not 2010? I mean, flat, what do you mean flat until 1 million? As far as it's just going to go up slowly? Is that what you're saying there? It could be a possibility, right? I mean, we're seeing it kind of, like I said, it's moving along like a school bus instead of a Ferrari or Lamborghini or something like that. Gary's got a question here. Is IREN still overbought, or have they gone flat long enough for the next run? I doubt next big run isn't until next monthly report. Not, who knows? On that one, on IREN, let's take a look at it. See if we got the RSI coming down a little bit on that one. RSI is still looking pretty hot right now as it is. It's coming down. Price action is kind of flat here, but the RSI is coming down, at least on the daily. On the weekly, we're coming back up here a little bit, but it can run more on the weekly. I'm not too worried about the weekly. 4-hour chart has come down on that one, and 1-hour chart is getting a little bit better as well. So hard to tell right now. I would have liked to have seen the 1-hour chart go a lot more down on it as it is, go down to like the 30 mark or something like that, or even below it. That would kind of signal maybe a little bit better. But right now it could go either way. Hard to tell. Okay, what else we got here? Talked about that one. BT2 says, I think most miners should give up chasing terahash rate, make profits with current fleet while monetizing power structure and other channels. IREN is making good profits. Stock is driven by HPC yes. But then again, right, depends where Bitcoin goes. Bitcoin goes like we think it might go to 100,000, or 150,000, 180,000, 200,000. Then that's going to be really great for those that are still like almost pure play miners. In a sense, IREN is still like a pure play miner, but they do have that optionality with a couple of other sites to go into HPC AI. And they're being kind of revalued on that a little bit. So, but again, Bitcoin going up to 200,000, the other guys are going to be making more and more as they grow their hash rate too, though. So it might be, I wouldn't be surprised at a certain point it's more profitable in Bitcoin than it is for HPC AI business. For I don't know how long of a period it's going to be, but I'm guessing there will be durations of time where Bitcoin mining is more profitable than HPC AI. Let's see, Seb, what target for Mara? I mean, I have Mara being closer to $30 than where it is right now, at least where I think it should be. Okay, Benjamin's got a question here. Who do you think has the most upside, Bitfarms or BitDigital? Two different horses here, right? Bitfarms is going into, well, they're still mining Bitcoin, and then they're trying to get into HPC AI. BitDigital right now, as the company is structured, is basically a Bitcoin Ethereum treasury company there. I don't know how Ethereum's going to do, right? If Bitfarms gets an HPC AI contract or something like that, that could pump more, right? I would go, that's tough. I don't know, to be honest. But then again, if Ethereum pumps to like 10,000 or 15,000, whatever it might be, then some of these guys might get valued pretty well. Plus, they got the staking on it as well, right? So they're getting yield on it. It's hard to tell on that one. I would say diversify. All right. Besides, Seb, do you really think Google will go with Bitfarms on PMJ? Oh, well, I'm not saying that they will go with them. I'm saying maybe they'll buy them out. Possibly, you never know on these things. I know Google is a behemoth. Obviously, they can do whatever the heck they want. They can build out if they wanted to as well. So, but if they want quick access, that might be the way to go. Let's see. Gary says Solana has eaten Ethereum lunch. The cycle is way off last cycle highs. Yeah, it is. Yeah. BA2 says, Seb, my earlier point on Bitfarms rivaling CORZ next year by stock price growth like CORZ did the past year. Oh, okay. If they get an HPCI deal, maybe. Mahmoud says, all the money went to AI. Yeah, a lot more interest has gone to AI this year, and even last year as well. Mr. X, what's your take on Canon Inc.? I know you guys, I think it's down a day, right? Let me see, where's Canon? Where do I have that one? That one's on the small miner side of things, I think. Do I have it there? Yep, I do. Yeah, so that one was down 10% today. Again, I've looked at this stock for a while, probably over the last 2 years or so, and it has nowhere near performed anywhere close to the other miners or Bitcoin itself. Maybe now will it catch a little bit? I don't know. I mean, it seems to go... I mean, it's looking overextended on the daily right now. It's going to be coming back. I don't know. I mean, it's just been kind of flat here over the last couple months, going back to April, right? A lot of the miners that bottomed out in the beginning of April are now up 60, 80, 100%, 150%, whatever. This thing is up maybe 5%, 10%, whatever it is up. So it's nowhere near performing like the other ones. But again, with anything, it's one good news story away from being a rocket ship. That's always the case here with anything. We can look at it, we can strategize, we can evaluate all we want, but one of these guys gets a great news story and off to the races it goes, and it's up 100, 150%, 200%. So I'll just leave it at that. All right, let's go back here. All right, Ryan celebrates 28 months of membership. Ryan, thank you so much for being such a long-term member. What are you're most excited about this year? What am I most excited about this year? I'm most excited about getting lower interest rates. I'd love to see those come down. Being able to buy like some land and things like that. I'd love to do that. I'd love to see, obviously, I'm excited about Bitcoin possibility. I'm loving the regulations that we're seeing around crypto and Bitcoin in general. I'd love to see also the FSB get enacted for the United States to be able to hodl Bitcoin and buy some of that as well. What else am I excited about? Mining's possibly doing pretty well here, doubling my bags on what I have here as it is. I'm excited. I'm going to be celebrating 20 years of marriage with my wife here this year as well. I'm excited about that. It's been a wonderful ride these past 20 years. It hasn't been without challenges because of kids and everything else. And one of my kids being sick when they were much younger here. So that definitely was a painful period, but we got through it, and he's a lot better now as it is. But we weathered the storm, and I'm looking forward to our next 20 years. So that's kind of what I'm excited about. My kid's getting older. My kid's getting into sports more and things like that. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about football coming back also. I'm a big football fan. Can't wait for those games again on Sunday, Monday nights and Friday nights and Thursday night games. Looking forward to that. So those are the kind of things I'm looking forward to. Gary says, last cycle was different. Fewer crypto options, everyone's stuck home and given tons of free money. We have been playing for the money printing this cycle. Last cycle was all hype, not fun, not on fundamentals. You're more than probably right. It was a different cycle in 2021, and these things did run like crazy here. This time around, we have more institutions inside. We got less retail possibly as well. Yeah. All right. Mahmoud says, I sold miners and went to alts. Okay, I wish you all the best there. I got hosed on the alts a couple times, so I'm out of those things for good. I still own some, but I'm getting out of them. BA2 question, I think treasury companies will trend to 1x their hodl value. What say you? I think that would be fair. I could see them getting a little bit of a premium, like 1.2, maybe 1.25, maybe even 1.3, based on the simple fact of the price of the commodity that they're holding, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum, is going to possibly go up in value, right? So if you think Bitcoin's going to go up in value, I could see them getting a little bit of a premium, but eventually that should come back down. I don't think there's a reason you should be getting 2x or 3x, 5x on that. So I'm with you on that. I can agree with you. All right. Beside, let's see here. Question, 1 million parity to gold. Is 22 trillion market cap equal to gold this cycle? Okay, 1 million parity to gold is 22 trillion market cap. Well, yeah, gold is at 22 trillion, 1 million. So you're talking about Bitcoin being at 1 million there this cycle. I mean, we could see that in a couple of years, right? But if it's an extended cycle and just continues to go up, we don't have it going down, then those cycles are broken for the most part. Then yeah, we could possibly, this could be our last cycle that we're in. And we could definitely see it getting to 1 million plus. Daryl says, again, BTC will explode much more soon. Again, BTC 150,000 plus by September 22nd. All good miners will 3x from here. Daryl, I love your conviction. I hope that they do that. That would be fantastic, not only for you, but for me, but for everybody else. That would be a nice early Christmas present. Sarah Mellon says, miners are hype-driven, and Hive and Bitfarms will never have the hype. People need to buy the top dogs. That could be a possibility, but it's also, I mean, with Hive and Bitfarms, it's always been, they were Canadian-based, right? They didn't have much operations in the United States. We're seeing the ones that maybe get into the United States do better than the ones that have operations outside the United States. Maybe that's part of it as well. I'm sure there's a couple of reasons for it. All right. Let's see, BD2 question. If we don't get FOMO, I think BTC will keep going up. FOMO leads to necessary overcorrection. True. I agree with you there, right? We're just going to have a steady climb up, but it's going to be 100% a year, then going down to like 80% a year, 70% a year, but we're going to continue to go up. Have some corrections along the way like we have here already in the past year, and we'll continue to go up. All right. B-side has a question. Why Bitfarms doesn't give monthly report? Also, what's up with Argentina? Can't wait for earnings in August. Yeah, well, they pretty much are at the end of their expansion for Bitcoin mining, so I think there's not much to report on growth going forward. And the only thing you'd really see there is the Bitcoin numbers, production be going down each month as the network hash rate increases. The only thing that you might see an increase in revenue would be as Bitcoin price goes up in that, right? So that's kind of what you would have to report there. I agree with you. I'd like to know more about Argentina, have that power in those sites been restored or not. It's been probably, about a month and a half now since we last heard anything about that. So I'd love to get an update on that as well. We'll have to wait until earnings for some reason. And we're seeing, obviously, companies that are getting to HPC AI stop reporting. CORZ stopped reporting. Hot 8 right now has stopped reporting, but they're putting that Bitcoin mining business into American BTC. Who else has stopped reporting? TeraWolf as well, right? So I'm hoping IREN doesn't stop reporting. That would not be good, but we'll see. Benjamin asks, question, are you still buying or are you stopped buying? I bought last week. I bought Thursday or Friday, both IREN, Cleanspark, and a little bit of Bitfarms as well at that point. So I have been buying here. Righty, B-side question. Who are you rooting for? Stargate, Elon Musk, or Meta? Or, I'm rooting for them all, to be honest. I know Elon, I've been using Grok 4 here recently. That's actually really good, too. I've been using Gemini as well. I have paid memberships to both of those things. That one's really good, too, with video, imaging, spreadsheets, even creating spreadsheets and things like that. Gemini is awesome as well, and that's going to only get better as time goes forward. I do like the voice for Gemini better than I do like it for Grok. Grok seems a little not as good quality. I've also noticed like the images for Gemini are better. It seems like better quality than what you see at Grok, but those things are going to be fixed. I know that Elon's working on that stuff, but it is just interesting. What did I do today on X or on? This was kind of pretty cool. I can give you guys a little example of AI. So I gave the AI assistant there a PDF file that had pricing for just warehousing, right? So if you went with like a public warehouse, something like that, where you could store your product and have them ship it out and things like that. I'd put in the price list into it and give it an example as far as how many times you would have like something inbound and going outbound and quantities of things, right? And I just put that all in there and say, calculate what is the monthly total. It did it without a problem. That saved me so much time trying to figure it out, putting in the spreadsheet and things like that. I did it within like a minute, probably less than a minute. I just figured it out, put it all into a nice spreadsheet format for me. It's a huge time savings. Hopefully you guys are using AI in some sort or some way, or at least you guys are learning about it. Because if you're not keeping up with it, you're going to be like our parents are with cell phones. Sonny, how do you do this? I can't, wait, how did you do that? Wait, you're going too fast. Slow down. You got to keep up with the technology, or otherwise, we're going to be ending up like our parents and not knowing how the technology works. So stay up with it. All right, let's see here. Gap filler. If miners don't pump after earnings, then there is no hope. Coming to this sad reality, and I think I might be time to cut my losses. The returns are just abysmal. I'm tired of seeing no results. Be patient, right? Highly also depends where Bitcoin price is at. As Bitcoin price goes up, we should see the miners going up as well, as long as they don't dilute too much, in the next 6 months. So something to think about there. Islam Mohammed says, I think $11 is a new floor for Cleanspark. Picked up more when it was in the 8s. If we see $11, I'll YOLO November 12. Strike calls for around $2. Okay, that would be $11 for the floor would be nice. All right. Daryl says just invest in big four and you'll be fine. Cleanspark, IREN, Mara, and Riot. I could also add in there CIFR as well. Right, Mara's got a little bit higher cost than all of these guys here, but Cleanspark, IREN for sure. Riot, we'll have to wait and see if they get an HPCI deal. CIFR, I think, is another good one in there to add in there as well. B-side question, do you think Cleanspark is making a mistake going all in? Pure play, I am still wondering why they don't expand at all in 2025. Not a single expansion. AI is eating it all. Well, they are growing. They're growing to 60 exahash plus this year. So they have more expansion here from the 50 exahash that they are at right now. So they are growing. Also, I know that the hype right now is on HPCI, right? I do have a concern. We can talk about that at another show or something like that. But I do have a concern that eventually, over time, as you get more players in the space and more compute online, the revenue generated from those are going to be coming down like anything else, right? Supply and demand. As more supply comes online, and along with demand going up as well, you're going to see things costing less and less on this side of things. And then you're going to be in this ever cycle again where you're having to get better GPUs, things like that. And what's the ROI going to be? Is it going to be 2 years? Is it going to be 3 years on these things in the beginning, maybe, but then later on does it get even worse, right? So right now everything's so hyped up right now. We need to kind of equilibrium along in the pricing of the GPUs, what they're being charged for as well, and then we can see what the actual business model is like. So we'll have to wait and see on that. As far as Cleanspark not going to HPCI, I mean, they got, 30 some sites. They're smaller sites, 50, 100 megawatt sites, even some of them are like 200 megawatt sites, something like that. And they're smaller. They may not have the footprint capable of holding an HPCI data center. So you kind of have to look at what you got, where you got it. Is it close to metropolitan areas as well? And maybe they did the evaluation and said, it's not worth it for us. All right. All right. Tim Harrison says, question, Milei is incredible what he has done in a short while. Are you talking about the president of Argentina? Or is that, what is that? Not New Argentina. Not Paraguay either. Is it Argentina? No. I'm drawing a blank on that one. Gary says, I would agree BTC could become more profitable than Hoppers, which everyone has. I doubt BTC will be more profitable than the Blackwells, where NVIDIA having problem finding data centers meeting specs. Yeah, I would agree with you there as well. For time being, I think. Once that is built out and you have a lot more of those things, and as other data centers are getting retrofitted to also house those things, it'll be just maybe a year to 2 years where you have that kind of a premium, but then things go down, I would think. CD says, congrats. I'm guessing on the 20 years. Thank you so much. 420, Kyle, congratulations as well. Thank you so much. Let's see, what age did you get married? I got married, well, if it's 20 years now, it's going to be when I was 27. So I was married 27. Mr. X, congrats on 20 years. Thank you so much. Heinze, Sub Ether has been getting some momentum. What would be your, for Ethereum? I have no idea, my friend. It will go up where it will go up, I have no idea. Previous all-time high, get back at least to that. That would be at least good there. Let's see here, Ethereum USD screen. What was the previous all-time high on this thing? This was 4,000. Was it previous all-time high? No, it was actually higher than that. Oh, let me pull this down. It was 4,967. So if it can at least get to that, we'll see where it can go after that. All right. Some people are calling for it to get to like 10,000 this year. I don't know if that's possible. We'll have to wait and see it. Like I said, it has not performed anywhere near like Bitcoin has, or close to Bitcoin's cycle. So we'll just have to wait and see where it does actually end up at, unfortunately. Too many barrels on that one. All right. Mahmoud says, at least alt's not diluting or shorting or not valued properly like the miners. That is true. You can always say that. But then again, you also have rug pulls. You got people scamming people on. So depending which alts you get, if you get into like the top alts, fine, I'm okay with that. But if you get into some of these poop coins, fart coins, and whatever not, be careful what you get into there. Let's see. Would you buy Mawson or DMGGF? And are those two better than Bitfarms? Bitfarms is larger. Bitfarms has more HPCI potential than those two have. So I would not get into Mawson or DMG at this point right now. All right. Big Boss Man has a question here. Why is the stock price for Cleanspark so far behind IREN? I get the AI, but not HODL. Yeah, it's underperformed here a little bit. Why? There's more hype around HPCI. That's one of them. The other thing is we had the halving event last year, right? The miners definitely got decimated because of that through the past year. They're starting to catch back up a little bit here now. And in general, we haven't seen that the miners, like even Mara, not get valued anywhere near what the HODL is valued at plus their operations. We're not seeing that happening. So in time, will that happen? Maybe, I don't know. But I think which is Bitcoin going up in value and everything else, and their growth, their operational efficiency and things like that, that should help the stock going forward. It's already had a pretty nice run up here in the last 12 weeks or so. I don't expect it to do that even going forward here. Ganesh Seb, congratulations on 20 years marriage anniversary. Thank you very much. It's been a fun ride. Would not change a thing about it. And the great thing is, my wife and I have only like argued once or twice in our 20 years. It's amazing when you find the right partner that supports you, you support them, how much easier life can be, right? So, all right, let's see. Visa's got a question here. I think Bitcoin will go to parity with gold. Market cap 22 trillion. It's simple. One Bitcoin will be 1 million, and like Morpheus said, you won't have to. Bitcoin will be gold. Yeah, but that's going to take a while. I mean, I might be able to see it in my lifetime, getting to one Bitcoin being basically $1 billion or $1 million or plus that even as well. But yeah, it's going to take a time. But it will get there eventually. All right, JR has a question here. Thinking to predictions of $60, $80 for IREN, Cleanspark, and Bitfarms 10 to 10. What's your ranges for these three if you apply the same principles? That's a good question. I have definitely curtailed my estimates on these things because they have not done anywhere near where I thought they would do, and it is a different cycle altogether. So I'm saying now that these guys, at least, Bitcoin getting to 200,000, should double more or less from where they are right now. So Cleanspark around 20 some odd dollars. IREN should be probably closer to like $25, something like that. If they get an HPCI deal, they could go up much higher than that. Bitfarms, I would think somewhere around $4 to $8 maybe, somewhere around there is where I would see them as well right now. But they could go up higher than that even. As we get FOMO in and everything else, it could. It would still be really good gains depending on when you got into them. Obviously, if you got into like Cleanspark at $24 and it goes back up to $24, you're not going to be pretty happy. But if you got into Cleanspark when it was $4, $5, $8 even, having gains of 300% or something like that is still going to be really good compared to what you would get with the S&P 500, bonds even. So you're still outperforming by a long shot there. All right. Prod FTW says, if Bitfarms gets to $10, I'll shove a banana up my... Okay, can't say that. B says, wake me up when Cleanspark expands. Will do. Sorry Melon says, Seb, check out Bitcoin University on YouTube. He made a video a few days ago titled Worst Bitcoin Miner in America. He covers Mara and why it's bad hold for investors. All right, I'll have to check it out. I'll give him a look. Let me write this down because I will forget. Was it Bitcoin University? Okay. BTC University. Mara. Okay, I'll see if I can find it. See if I can find it. No, if anything, I'll look at it to see what his grievances are against Mara. BevNeat end of year target for CIFR. CIFR right now is what, $4? But $6. Sorry, they're at $6 here. I think they can, possibly double to at least $12, if not a little bit more than that. That's kind of where I would think right now. B-side. Why would you buy a jet when you are a public company and can't even see AI is eating it all? They are stubborn and wasting money on jet and dumb decisions. I don't think the jet was a bad decision. They got 30 sites across the country here. If they can save time on that, be more productive, I'm all for it. Plus, they said it's better for them, actually cost them less than to do that than to fly with regular airlines. If you believe it, right? Because you got to have an Uber to get to the airport, you're wasting time, all that stuff. There's probably some savings in that as well, and then they also rent it out. So I'm okay with that. As far as them not going to HPCI, like I said, it depends on the sites that they have, right? Do you have access to redundant fiber, right? If you don't, cross that site off, right? Do you have space in that site to also put in backup generators, all that stuff, right? If you don't, scratch that site off. So you got to look at the sites that you do have here, and they have high conviction in Bitcoin. Strategy has a high conviction in Bitcoin price going up. Why doesn't he get into HPCI as well, right? So you can't have everybody just going into HPCI because that is the hype thing. What if the hype doesn't work out? What if these guys don't get any kind of contracts, right? You got CIFR, you got IREN, you got Riot, you got Bitfarms, you got TeraWolf in there, Hut 8, Hive. They're all trying to get HPCI contracts. How many will get an HPCI contract? That is yet to be seen, right? So in time, we'll see if this was a bad decision or a good decision. But in the meantime, I think we just need to let it play out. All right, Mr. X, what will happen to miners when all the BTC have been mined? Will they be only making money from the transaction fees? Yes. At that point, yes. Hopefully the transaction fees are much higher, but if Bitcoin's at 22 million or something like that, transaction fees should be pretty good. But we shall see. Mr. X, I would not like to see the banana afterwards. All right. Michael's got a question here. How much of a correction will be on Bitcoin? I mean, we saw a 6% correction right now as it is. We could go down a little bit more, maybe 10% correction, and then go back up, or we could continue to go back up to right here. Right, we don't know what kind of correction we're going to have on it until after the fact, unfortunately. Michael says PFE had upgraded on Fidelity from $28 to $30. That upgrade didn't help. No upgrades today. Okay. Maxim says thanks for taking taking our questions. Absolutely. That's, I'm here. I enjoy the questions. You guys make me think as well at the time. So I really appreciate you guys coming in here and asking the questions. But we'll call it a day. Cut up to all you guys' questions as it is right now. And it's getting late. It's 10:44. We've been going on for about an hour and 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. So tomorrow we'll see. Does Powell get actually fired or not? Right? That will be interesting to see, because then how quickly can they get somebody to replace him, and how quickly can they actually get the rates lowered? So at that point, that's going to pump the stock for price of Bitcoin. The other thing is obviously the Genius Act tomorrow. Will that actually get passed through or not? And then we'll see on that, everything else as well. And then Maxim's asked, my question got missed. Oh, I'm sorry, your question got missed. Oh, here we go. It is right here. Let's see. What do I think about Galaxy? They have a deal with CoreWeave. Yeah, I mean, they have a great deal with CoreWeave as well. But again, I don't know what's going to happen with them. They don't really report. They also do other things as well, not just HPCI there with CoreWeave, but they also do Bitcoin lending, loans, and things like that. They do a bunch of other things there. So I think they should be fine. Let's see. Islam, thank you so much, and good night to you as well. But yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys. All right. Greatly appreciate you guys coming in as always. Love you all. I hope you guys have a great night. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday, hump day, middle of the week. We'll see where we go. All right. Have a great night, everyone. I'll see you guys tomorrow.